guys, this week we tried a subscription box which is from Waitrose. I absolutely love these kind of boxes. They get sent to your house, they come with recipe cards and all of the ingredients to make the dishes in them. It's a really nice way of finding out new recipes or trying things that you wouldn't normally cook. The first thing I liked about this box was that you could order it as just a one-off. Often these boxes are subscription boxes and you have to subscribe and then go back and cancel it, which isn't always that easy, but this box gave you the option of just ordering a one-off to try, which I did. Also, because it was my first order, I had 50% off. Normally this box, which is for 2 people with 3 meals, costs £39, but I got it for 20. Let's see how I got on. The box has arrived, the poor delivery guy got soaked, it's pouring with rain here. It's 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna open this straight away and start cooking because we usually eat by now. Let's see what's inside. Okay, recipe cards and 3 big bags. So each recipe has got a bag, and then there's this fridge bag too, which I guess has got the fresh stuff in it. We also got this little card that says we've got a pudding pot in there to try, so that's exciting. These are the ingredients that were in the fridge bag, and there are 2 of those little pudding pots. That's a really nice bonus, but I guess you wouldn't get that every time. And these ice packs are still frozen in here, so it's all still nice and chilled. I am going to cook the cod tonight, just because generally in these boxes it's best to cook the fish first because it tends to be more perishable and have a shorter date. Here's all the ingredients for tonight's dish. It seems funny, it being the Waitrose brand. Obviously it's a Waitrose box, but it's just very familiar packaging to me, so that's interesting. This is what we are cooking tonight, and the instructions say it takes 30 minutes, so let's set the timer. I have topped the cod with the crust and a little bit of my own pepper, and now that's going in the oven for 15 minutes. This dish has got pasta and potatoes. There are only 2 little potatoes. I've just sliced those. So for the pesto, I've got to make it in a blender. I assume the numbers in blue are for 4 people. We're just cooking for 2. So we also need the rocket. We need 2 times 40 grams. So I guess that means we need 80 grams of rocket, and there are 90 grams in this pack. It's a little bit confusing. Everything else is cooked up easily. The finished dishes look really good. There's a big pile of pasta under them, you can see there, and it's taken me 33 minutes, and generally when you're filming something, that does add some time to it, so I think this would be a really quick dish. Leftovers though, I've got a few beans, a little bit of rocket, and quite a bit of creme fraiche. So, you know, you don't always get leftovers usually when you have one of these boxes. So I also just wanted to show you the washing up with this. It used a couple of pans, the blender, and also the tray that the fish was cooked in the oven. It seems like a lot of different cooking methods, obviously the chopping board and the knife too, but not too many dishes. This recipe was okay, there wasn't anything wrong with it, it just wasn't dazzling and amazing. The potatoes and pasta, it's an odd combination, and it added to the washing up by having those potatoes that you had to cook separately. The extra potatoes is going to be a running theme, as you will see through this video. They seem to put potatoes where they're not really needed. I thought the pesto was a little bit on the sloppy side, but I think that was my fault. I made it in the NutriBullet and I probably added a bit more creme fraiche than I should have, just because you need a bit of liquid in the NutriBullet to get things moving. And it did give you, on the recipe card, instructions to follow for if you weren't, if you don't have a blender, so you could have done it by hand. So yeah, it was okay. Let's see the next one. These are the ingredients for the second dish, which we're making tonight, which is tacos, and they all look fairly standard, but I do think that this little bar of chocolate is pretty cute. This dish should take 40 minutes, so let's see how we get on. There's lots of veg in this. There's 2 carrots and 2 courgettes, which seems like a lot for 2 people. And then these are getting tossed in this glaze, which has got coriander and the spices in it, for 25 minutes. In this pan, I've got the onions, garlic and the black beans, and we're just putting in the chipotle paste and the dark chocolate. The rest of the ingredients make up the salsa, so there's onions, garlic, coriander, tomatoes, chilies, and there's lime juice. So the roast veg and everything really is ready, but there's still so much liquid in with the beans, which is odd because in the instructions it states to leave this liquid in, because we did think that that was unusual. So I think I'm going to drain some of this off. I don't want to lose the flavour though by draining it. Just boil it a bit longer, I guess, until it evaporates some more. This is going to make, well, a lot of tortillas. So we have reduced these down a bit. They are much thicker now. It looks tasty. And we're just using, first of all, the rocket that was left from last night. We're also adding some of last night's leftover creme fraiche. There are quite a few carrots and courgettes left over, but these are all the dishes for tonight. I don't feel like there's as many at all. It's great. So this one was a little bit odd. At first I was quite excited because normally in like a wrap like that you would have peppers, and there weren't any peppers in it. And the carrots and courgettes seemed quite interesting. It does tell you to cut the carrots and courgettes to the same size and roast them. But carrots and courgettes do not have the same cooking time. The carrots were hard and the courgettes were just nice. So it didn't work. It wasn't very nice when the texture wasn't there when you were biting into it, and I probably would have preferred peppers. So we're on to the last dish tonight, and we're having the Tikka Tofu. This paste, the Tikka paste, has leaked, which isn't ideal. I also think this is a weird one because it's got chickpeas, potatoes and quinoa in it. Seems like I don't know, it seems a bit confused. Does it need all of those in? Let's see, let's cook it. This one says it should take 45 minutes, so the longest for it to cook. This step is really confusing to me. So we need 2/3 of the vinegar. The vinegar is in these two 15ml pots, and we only need 2/3 of it. It seems like if you're measuring them out into these kind of sizes, you could put the amount in that you needed for the recipe. The other thing is, this is only step 2, and the first step is preheating the oven, and it says combine the reserved coriander. Well, we haven't reserved any coriander yet, so I feel like these 2 steps maybe just got turned around, because in this step you put chop the coriander and place half in a bowl, and so this must be the remaining coriander that they're talking about. There's no mention of coriander anywhere else, and it tells me that we should have 10 grams of coriander. In this pan I've got the chickpeas, Tikka paste, the liquid from the chickpeas, and the quinoa. There's so little quinoa. I just don't know what the point is of it in this dish at the moment. I guess the proof's going to be in the tasting, but I'm not sure why bother putting that in. This paste on the tofu does look really nice, and it's a nice firm tofu as well. This is going in the oven now to be roasted. The chickpeas in there are done now, and I'm just about to put these into the oven for 15 minutes. I don't know if I've just worked slowly, but it does say set them aside, so we'll see. I feel like I've been a little bit down on this recipe, but the finished dish does actually look really bright. I'm really excited about the tofu. There's loads of food here. I just don't think the potatoes are necessary is all, but they look lovely. It's going to look beautiful on the table. This recipe did also use quite a few of these little plastic pots. I can put them in the recycling, but I also had leftover treacle and leftover vinegar, and just because of the nature of the pots, there's not really a way of storing those. But this one was a lot of dishes, especially the 2 oven pans. This one with the treacle and tamarind I think is going to be a pain to clean. And then there was 2 pans as well, because you had to boil the potatoes for 5 minutes before they went in the oven. The chopping board, a bowl, the draining thing because of the potatoes. Yeah, a lot of washing up. I'm not looking forward to that. At the beginning of this recipe, when it talks about using the remaining coriander, and that's the first time you've encountered the coriander, I think it's just a typing error, but it makes you question when it was proofread or how these recipes were tested, because it was wrong, it was a mistake. And yeah, this one was tasty. I really liked the tofu, and I would make that again myself. But the timings were a little bit out as well. The chickpeas were done, and I was just putting the potatoes in the oven. One nice thing about these recipe boxes is online they have all the nutritional information. This recipe in particular has a really high salt content, and that is probably coming from the tamarind paste that you put onto the potatoes. And with all of those chickpeas, I don't think you need the potatoes. It didn't feel like a balanced recipe, but I would make it again and skip the potatoes. So overall, I was kind of disappointed with this box. It had leftovers, which you don't normally get with subscription boxes, and it just didn't dazzle me or wow me. And apart from the tofu, I probably wouldn't make any of them again. As I said, I love the cooking part of it. I really like subscription boxes because you get everything you need to your address. So if you know of any other subscription boxes that I haven't tried or anything else that's come out recently, leave them in the comments below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. I make this kind of content regularly. I also share my own grocery hauls and recipes, as well as some little bits from my garden. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.